Good morning, y'all. It is Friday. We made it. We made it. We made it. It is Friday, December 6th. And y'all, just like that, the first week of December is almost out of here. So, you know what that means. We're that much closer to, goodness, dare I say it, that much closer to January. And you know what that means. All the changes, all the new year, new me's, all the resolutions, all of the proposed, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to start doing this, I'm going to stop doing that. Ooh, it's just about to be on and popping. Y'all know how we do. We make all of these statements talking about how we're going to change, and we may hold on to it for a good month, week. You know, some of us actually can make it quite a ways. And then there are a small subset of people who actually carry through with what they say they're going to do the entire year and make it a lifestyle and a new way of living. And if that is your story, congratulations. So this morning, for this little series in December, we're going to talk a little bit about holding on to grudges. And if you can't make the live, make sure you let me know that you caught the replay, please. I'd greatly appreciate it. This series is a daily live stream or audio. Next week, I'll probably do a couple of audio uploads rather than live streams. But it's intended to promote mental wellness, uplift, encourage, and inspire those who come across it. So I'm definitely glad that you stopped by. Hang on a second. I don't know what this is. Oh, okay. Definitely glad that you stopped by. So don't forget to let me know if you are catching the replay. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about holding grudges. And I'm just going to share some things that I think are important to remember in day-to-day life. So y'all know we all on social media. We see folks day in and day out airing all their business and dirty laundry against whoever, friends, family, co-workers, former friends. The list goes on and on and on. And then if we take a step back and even just look in our own personal lives, some of us hold grudges that last to infinity and beyond. You know, we just never, ever work on getting rid of those hard feelings. So we harbor them and carry them with us every single day. And it does no good. But you can't tell us that. Sometimes we feel like holding on to grudges is hurting the other person. And just think about that for a minute. How? How does the grudge that you have against somebody else hurt them? Because 9 times out of 10, these people are carrying on with their lives. They're not losing any sleep at night. They're not dropping any weight because they don't have an appetite. They are thriving and living and enjoying life. And on the other hand, you over there upset because of something that they did to you that you did not do the work to get past. And you're just rotting. You know, you don't want to do anything. You don't want to see them happy. I mean, grudges can actually invade your everyday living like a wildfire and just burn up everything that you knew to be normal, especially if you become fixated on people or situations that you harbor grudges with. So I feel like if you're holding a grudge or grudges, Here are some things that you may be able to think about that can help you get past it. So, the first thing is, what are you even allowing? What are you allowing within yourself? And these are all things that you have control of. You can't blame this stuff on anybody else. The fact that you're holding a grudge, you can't blame that on anybody else. Circumstances that have happened in the past and you've worked or are working to move past, things may not have been your fault. That is not the focus of moving past a grudge. So you got to toss that out of the window completely. The focus of getting past the grudge is, what are you allowing? And the answer is, you're allowing thoughts and repetition and rewind and constant replay of those situations to take up so much space in your head that you can't think about anything else. You got that grudge in the rotation. So every now and then, when it's time has passed and everything else that's on rotation in your head has gone by, it's time for the grudge to come up again. Now that's in rotation. And you just stuck on that, constantly rewinding and replaying. Hey Mo, good morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I feel like this kind of needed to be said because it's just, even not only out here on social media, like I said at the beginning, people in our personal lives, just hanging on to stuff, not letting it go and allowing it to just take up residence and just eat away at our minds, basically, so much so that you can't even function properly. So if you think about what you're allowing, it's nothing good. And only the person holding the grudge has the ability to change that. Nobody else can do it. Nobody. So think about what's being allowed. What are you allowing into your life, in your head? And then the second thing is, what do you value? Where do you place the value of where your life stands today and what you got going on with your family, with your friends, what you're trying to build and leave for your children, what you're trying to teach them? What do you value? Are you valuing the negative energy and past circumstances to take up residence all around you? Yes, absolutely. You value that over preserving your joy and moving forward in a way that represents healing, understanding, compassion, and forgiveness. And some people are just, for whatever reason, hell bent on being in the ditch, staying stuck in the ditch and trying to pull everybody else down in the ditch with them. And sometimes you just got to say, I ain't going. I've moved past that and I'm not looking back. Unless you want to come to terms and have a mature conversation about some things, then we can talk about it. Especially if you've apologized already for whatever is going on, and thinking in your mind you've made amends, but you got this other person that's just constantly, like my mama say, rehashing the past, reliving the past, thinking you hurting somebody by holding a grudge. It's the holiday season, and I know it's cliche and people like to say, oh, it's the holiday season, family, fellowship. I understand wholeheartedly that not everybody can do that because not everybody is there yet. But have you even made an effort? Have you even tried? Have you extended that proverbial olive branch? Have you made a phone call? Have you written a letter? Have you sent an email, a carrier pigeon, a bat signal, anything, There are multiple ways to get a message across to somebody if you don't want to directly speak to them face to face. So I think sometimes we have to get out of our own way and toss the excuses to the side and just be a grown adult about some things. Holding grudges does nothing good for you, and eventually it takes a toll on you physically, and it starts to disrupt your body because it's nothing but stress, anxiety, and worry and anger. And when people are angry, they start to become vindictive. And then they do things and say things and act in such a way that does nothing but escalate the situation, right? And if you are a vindictive person, or if you know vindictive people, you realize sometimes they can become laser focused on the person that they're holding the grudge against. And it seems like their only goal may be to just tear them down. So if you're the person that's holding a grudge, just take a step back and think about it. Look, it's Friday. I saved this topic for today because you got the weekend. And I realize that's me making assumptions, but you got the weekend. You got the weekend to think about it. You got the weekend to marinate on it. You got the weekend to replay this live. You got the weekend to chew on some things. Write some stuff down. Go outside and scream about it. Do something. But in order to grow past the grudge and let it go, you have to start somewhere. So if you think about what you're allowing, you think about what you value, you think about the fact that you're laser focused on this person, all of this stuff, it just ends up being a big mess. And what you're doing is repeating something over and over and over and over. And you know what we call that in the wellness space? We call it habit forming. So, what I'm saying essentially is you are allowing people to take up thoughts in your mind if you're holding a grudge. You're valuing negative energy over your joy and moving forward, which means that's your priority. The negative energy is your priority. And you're focusing on things that are in the past and probably really don't even matter now. So if you keep doing those things on repeat, you're forming a habit of doing it. You're making it a habit. You're making it a habit to revisit your grudge. You're making it a habit to stay in dirty, dark places. You're making it a habit to just alienate everybody around you because let's be real, y'all. Nobody wants to be around somebody who is constantly dragging on another person, got that person in the rotation, and just plain can't seem to be able to get over it. I've had to do that in some cases where every phone call was just ranting and raving about the same thing. But you know what the kicker was? They weren't trying to do anything to move past it. Constantly revisiting old stuff. And I'm like, what's next? What's next? And so I was careful about it in the beginning because I'm like, okay, maybe that, this is just the thing. This person is going to process this and move past it. But when I tell y'all 5 years later, we were still talking about the same thing, I eventually had to wean myself off of those phone calls because it was draining my energy. So how about that? If I'm being drained, just constantly listening to it over and over, imagine how you must feel that you don't realize you feel that way because you're drained. If you're holding a grudge against somebody and you're constantly talking about it and bringing it up and focusing on it, you're drained. You might not know you're drained and tired, but you are. And that brings me to another point about people who hold grudges. Y'all, every time this grudge comes up in the rotation, it's elevated when the actions are taken against it. If the person is talking about it, they're a little more angrier than they were the last time. If they are acting out about it, they do something a little more extreme the next time the grudge come around than they did before. So we got to work on it. We have to be adults about this thing. And why not now? What better time than the present? Even if you don't celebrate Christmas or didn't celebrate Thanksgiving, if these are times where family is together, where friends tend to come together, where there are plenty of opportunities for forgiveness and plenty of opportunities to get rid of grudges and let them go. And that means let them go. That doesn't mean forget, because I don't know your personal situation. I only know what you tell me on the phone, or I only know what you put out here on social media, or I only know, or I can only try to extract what you put in a subliminal post. That kind of thing. You're the only one who really knows why you're holding a grudge. And then the question in that is, have you examined your part of whatever it is, what the situation is? Now, in all cases, it's not you did this and I did that and we both bear responsibility. I get it. I'm talking about whatever the specific situation is. Have you looked to see if you've played a role? And if so, have you owned up to that? Have you talked about it with a third party who's neutral? I'm not talking about anybody who knows you or the person you're holding the grudge against. No, I'm talking a therapist. I'm talking a counselor. I'm talking a conflict resolution coach. I'm talking a mediator. See, we hold grudges and we like to act like there's just no way we can possibly get past what, in most circumstances, there is. The question is, are you doing the work to release the grudge? It's getting ready to be a new year, y'all. If it wasn't this close to the new year and I was talking, I would say it's getting ready to be a new week, y'all, because it's a Friday. And I'm going to even say if it wasn't a Friday and I was talking on this topic on a Wednesday, I would say it's morning time, y'all. It's a new day. Let's see if we can get it right today. If it wasn't morning time and I was doing this live in the evening, I would say this day is gone. There's nothing you can do about the fact that you didn't fix it today, but tomorrow is a new day. You see where I'm going? Like, as long as you have breath in your body, there's always another chance. Always. Don't let grudges leave you with regret, because grief is a terrible thing. And you can say what you're not going to feel and what you will do if something happens to somebody, but you don't know that. You think you know because you think you're invincible. You do not know that. And there's no reason to hold grudges and continue to destroy your inner self and add more rot to your core, because nobody's perfect. We all got a little bit of rot somewhere. Grudges don't do anything but add on to the spoil. Add on to the spoil. Good morning, Deborah Ray. You may have to catch the replay. If you want to be a rotten individual at your core, hang on to the grudges. It'll do it to you. Give them time. Give the grudges time. Let them hang out in your soul and in your mind. Give them time to grow roots and keep watering the grudges by talking about what's going on, by being vindictive and laser focused on folk instead of um, trying to live happily and raise your children if you have any, cultivate a good family dynamic, build a community of compassionate family and friends. We got a lot of control of how we live day to day, and I don't think we realize that. We have a lot of control of how we live day to day. We have a lot of power in that. You don't need permission for a lot of stuff. This is your life. You get to choose. Sometimes we forget that because we're so caught up in holding a grudge. Let it go, y'all. Let it go. Easier said than done? Of course, because stuff like this requires work. Some cases you can just let a grudge go, especially if it's something petty. You can easily let it go. But if it's something heavy that requires work outside of what you can just do by yourself, then that's where a lot of us tend to run, because it's an emotional journey to forgiveness and letting the grudge go. And we don't want to do that emotional work. It's bigger than just, be done with it sometimes. And I get that. But my question is, and I don't know anybody's situation 100%, and I shouldn't know because it's none of my business unless they actually come to me and ask for help. However, comma, as the young folks say, however, comma. Anyway, however, this big tub of work that needs to be done has to get started somewhere. And if you think about whatever your grudge is, just take a minute. If you're listening, think about whatever the grudge is. Here are two questions. Two questions. How long ago did this happen? So how long have you been carrying this weight? How long have you been dragging this grudge along? How long has it been in the rotation? How long? That's the first question. The second question is, how far along and how much peace would you have about it had you started doing the work to get rid of that grudge shortly after you realized that you were just hanging on to it? How long? So how long have you been holding it? And had you started shortly thereafter trying to fix it, how far along would you be? Would it still be a grudge? Would it have been fixed? And would there have been reconciliation? If so, yeah. I know all situations can't be reconciled. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just asking a question. And I realize that in order to work on letting go of a grudge, you have to first realize that it's an issue. It's not rocket science to realize that. Now, I'm not going to let anybody tell me, oh, maybe they don't know they're holding a grudge. Oh, maybe don't. Come on now. Come on now. We're not going to do that. We're not going to take a pencil and erase people's common sense away, or people's sense of awareness. We're not going to do that because, then you just saying they just might as well be a puddle of water. So think about it, move accordingly, and remember, you are in charge of taking the first step to releasing that grudge and letting it go. Life is way too short. People say it all the time. It's cliche. Yes, I get it. Oh, people always say life is too short. People always say, okay, keep on living. Keep on living. Keep on forming new relationships. Keep on raising your children. We got to do better, y'all. We have to do better. Let it go. Let it go. That's all I got for today. I definitely didn't mean for this to be this long. I said I was going to try to keep these live streams and these broadcasts under 15 minutes because I know people don't really have a long span of attention. Some people, unless you got me on in the car or coming through the speakers while you're doing something else. If so, I appreciate it. I hope you got something out of this broadcast this morning. If you need to replay it, replay it. If there is a part in the live where I said something that really resonated, give me a timestamp so I can go back and listen to it. And I can say, oh, maybe. I'm at the point in my life where I really don't hold grudges anymore. And if I realize that I am holding a grudge, I try to get rid of it quick because I just don't have time and energy to devote to that. I'm not allowing thoughts of other folk to creep up in my head and consume my thoughts all day long. I'm not going to value that over living a joyful life every day. And I'm definitely not about to take my precious time and focus on trying to be vindictive and bring somebody else down. So have an amazing Friday. Spread a little joy and cheer today. And if you realize that you're holding a grudge, come on, think about it. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? Y'all have a fantastic day. I'm about to go get me a coffee refill and hop off of here. I may be back tomorrow. Now, tomorrow's Saturday. I may do an upload, but I'll have something for you. In the meantime, spread joy, a little bit of love, a little bit of cheer, and I hope you get back just as much, or if not more, as you're giving out today. Have a wonderful day and talk soon. Thank you, Deborah Ray. You too. Toodles, y'all.